Let's talk about governance on the ATP Tour. In most team sports, players negotiate a collective bargaining agreement, or CBA, every few years that sets the structure and rules of the league for a while. This chart here shows where we are and how long current CBAs in major US leagues are, some lasting up to a decade. But what happens when the sport is built around individuals and not franchises? Take tennis and the ATP for example. It uses a different model where decisions happen between the league and the players all year round, and here's how it works. Let's use this tennis court to represent what's called the ATP Board of Directors, with 9 voting members who decide on everything from rule changes to tournament schedules. The 4 seats of the board on this side of the court belong to player representatives. They're elected by a 12-person player advisory council, the members of which are also elected by players across the PIF ATP rankings. 4 come from the top 50 singles players, 2 from the next 50, 1 each from the top 25 and the next 25 in doubles, 2 at-large player picks, a coach, and an alumni rep. The 10 players on the council vote for the 4 player reps and aim to keep them in sync with the other players' wants and needs throughout the ATP. On the other side of the court are 4 board members that are elected by the tournaments. 2 come from the ATP Masters 1000s events, which are the highest stakes events on tour. 1 represents the ATP 500 level, and 1 represents the ATP 250s. Finally, the 9th and final member is the chairman, who's elected by both sides. It all may seem complex, but this setup allows for constant updates to the sport. Instead of waiting years for sweeping changes like in some team sports, the ATP board meets nearly every month to adapt and evolve the game. Let's look at a couple examples just from the last few years alone. The board has approved profit sharing between players and tournaments that's already put an extra $18 million in players' pockets over the last 2 years and created a new dynamic between the parties. They've also rolled out electronic line calling live across the entire tour. The big decisions like this require a supermajority vote, an overall majority plus at least 2 members from either side of the net, meaning no major decision can be made without consensus from both sides. You see, in this system, players don't just play the game. They have a voice in every single decision alongside the tournaments to progress the game forward.